Hi guys, welcome to this tutorial video on how to deal with data for social network analysis. So in this video what I'm going to do is show you how to organize your data that you've collected in the field in Excel and how to summarize that data in a matrix table. And then in further videos I'll show you how to actually analyze that using a social networks package called UCI Net6. So for your social networks project, you may have done one of two different types of data collection, or you may have done both. So you may have collected simple association data, where you just wanted to see who was hanging out with who effectively, which is also known as nearest neighbor. Or you may have looked at directional interactions between individuals. So these might be dominance interactions, or they may be affiliative interactions, where you're interested to look at who is dominating who most, or who is grooming who most, things like that. In this video, we're just going to look at simple association data. So that is, as I said before, nearest neighbor effectively. So there's loads of different ways of doing this. One way might be when you're collecting your data, you were classing an individual as having an association with another individual, so a nearest neighbour, they're neighbours, if they're within one body length of each other, for example. And yeah, what I'm going to do is show you how to handle that type of data. So what I've done here is made a mock data set. Okay, so generally what we do when we collect association data like this is we do scans. Okay, so every, I don't know, let's say 5 minutes, we do a scan and we look at who is neighbouring with who. Okay, so when we want to handle our data, we obviously need to put our variables at the top that we might be interested in, and then our rows represent our individual data points. Okay, so it's always a good idea to have date in any database. Start time here is quite relevant. We might be able to go back and that might be relevant later on. The scan number within that data collection period might be useful. And the vital information we want for our social network data is association IDs. Okay, so in my methodology here, basically what I did was half an hour data collection stints where I did a scan every 5 minutes. Okay, that's just for an example's sake. Okay, so here if I started my data collection at 9 o'clock, I would have done half an hour, which would have taken me to 9:30. If I'd done a scan every 5 minutes, I would have 6 different scans, and that's what I've got here. Okay, so the way I've set this up here is on scan 1, I observed male 1 and male 2 together. I observed male 1 and male 3 together. I observed male 2 and male 3 together. And I observed male 4 and male 5 together. Alright, that was in scan 1. Going on to scan 2, I observed male 1 and male 2 together, male 3 and male 4 together, male 3 and male 5 together, and male 4 and male 5 together. Scan 3, I observed male 1 and male 2 together, male 3 and male 5 together. You get the idea. Going on to scan 4, scan 5, and scan 6, where I only saw one association, male 1 and male 5. So now what we would need to do is summarize this data in what we call an association matrix. Okay, hopefully you are aware of what an association matrix is at this point, having already done your literature review and no doubt since then done some more reading around it. If you're still unsure, I will upload a file within this Moodle section of just a couple of pages from a social networks analysis book, which will explain it a little bit further. Okay, so what we're going to have to do is actually make that association matrix in another spreadsheet. Okay, so down here I've got 3 spreadsheets. I've got raw data, I've got data summary, and I've made an example association matrix that we're going to look at later. So if we just flip over to data summary, okay, this is where we're going to make our association matrix. So what we're going to need to do is put our individuals down one side of the matrix. So we've got 5 individuals in my sample here. So 5 males, male 1, male 2, male 3, male 4, and male 5. And then I also need to have those going on the top. Okay, you could type them in, or there's a nifty little thing you can do if you copy those. So Control C, and then click on the cell you want to paste them, and right click and paste special, and you can transpose those, and then that kind of does that for you, but on a horizontal level. So next I want to fill this in. So I already know that I'm going to have a 0 in here because you can't have an interaction between an individual on itself. Again, a 0 in there, 0 in there, 0 in there, and a 0 in there. Okay, so I already know that that's going to be the values that are going to be held in those cells. But if I go back to my raw data file, what I can do is put a filter on this data, and then I can filter out the number of different interactions that I saw between all of the individuals. Okay. Just to add another note here, actually, when you're making this, okay, it's always a good idea to, when you do your association IDs, to always have the lowest number first, okay, so you don't confuse things. So for example, in my scan 2, I don't put male 5, then male 4 in here. If I've got male 4 and male 5 interacting, I have male 4 and then male 5, not male 5, then male 4, okay. It would make things very confusing when you try and filter out that data. Okay, so try and put things in a chronological order and a numerical order. Okay, so what we need to do is if we just click on cell A1, go up to data at the top here, and then you want to add a filter. Okay, so that's now put a filter on everything, and then we can go to the drop down on column D, and we can unselect all of these, okay, and then I can just select this category here of male 1 and male 2, okay, and that's going to pull out all the times that we saw male 1 and male 2 together, which is 3 times, okay. So I can go back to my data summary sheet, I can follow this along, I can go like male 1 and male 2 interacted 3 times, and they'll need to do the same vertically as well. So male 1 and male 2 interacted 3 times. Okay, let's go back to our raw data. Go back to our drop down menu on column D, and then let's have a look at male 1 and male 3. So male 1 and male 3 interacted twice. Back to our data summary sheet, follow the row across, male 1, male 3, 2 times, and then same vertically. Okay, start to get the idea. Let's just do one more. So we go back to our drop-down menu, select our next association to male 1 and male 5, and again 2 times. So male 1 and male 5 interacted twice. Same vertically. And so we've got, it looks like here we haven't got any interactions between male 1 and male 4. So let's just double check that by going back to our raw data, go to our drop down menu. Yep, there's definitely no interactions between male 1 and male 4. Okay, so let's select all those again. That's just the end of this example. You get the idea, so you just continue to fill out that matrix. And eventually it will look something a little bit like that. Okay, so this is one I made earlier, bit of a blue Peter jobby. Okay, and it's this one here that we're actually going to use for our example of how to use the social networks analysis package UCINet 6. Just because it's got a few more samples in it, okay? But first of all, what we're going to need to do, okay, is we're going to need to put this summary table here into an Excel file of its own, okay, because we're going to need to import this into UCINet 6 later, and it doesn't let us do that if we've got multiple sheets within a file. So we need this to be in a file on its own. Okay, pretty straightforward to do that. We literally just highlight the cells we want to copy, Control C, and then if you go to File, New, blank workbook, okay, and then just Control V, paste it into there, and then what we can do is we can save this file, whatever we want to call it, that's fine. So bear with me just while I find a place to save it. Bit of a pathway there. So I'm going to call this video tutorial matrix. Okay. Okay, so now I've saved this. Okay, I can close this down. All right, and I've also finished working with this as well. So what we can do is take the filter off. So go back to your raw data and just click on this filter button again, and it takes the filter off. It's always quite important to take a filter off before you close the file down. All right, and then we can save it again, and then we can also close that. Okay, so that's just an example of how to handle your data if you just got simple association data in Excel ready for analysis in UCI Net 6. If you go to the next video, it will show you how to analyze that in that statistical package.